More than 3,600 people were killed in the conflict known as the Troubles in Northern Ireland. Republican and Loyalist paramilitary groups carried out most of the killings. The UK security forces are estimated to be directly responsible for about 10% of the deaths. One of these cases was Gerard Slane, who was murdered by a Loyalist paramilitary group, the UDA, in a killing linked to the security forces. His wife Teresa is still fighting for truth and justice.
It was the 23rd of September 1988, about 4:20 in the morning. Our door was sledgehammered down and 5 gunmen came into our house. The place was total darkness and you kept seeing these flashes and hearing pops and the smell of smoke, and then the kids were squealing. Gerard was shot a number of times, didn't stand a chance. A few days later after the murder, a photograph appeared of Gerard in a UDA magazine claiming that he had killed a UVF member on the Shankill Road. The inquest said that Gerard was an innocent man, that he wasn't involved in any paramilitaries. Later on after that then we found that it was collusion in Gerard's murder. That Brian Nelson, who was an army intelligence officer, was passing information on to the Brits in the RUC that they were following Gerard and collecting information on him. And the RUC knew 10 days before that Gerard was going to be murdered, and they didn't do anything about it. These are the people that were here to protect you, and they were letting their citizens die.
We spoke to Mark Thompson, who founded the organisation Relatives for Justice, to support families such as Teresa's to navigate the legal system. He told us about the difficulties families encounter and how the state uses national security as a reason to withhold information.
Relatives for Justice was formed in April 1991 against the backdrop of a number of quite controversial killings by the British Army, the RUC, the police who are in this jurisdiction, and by Loyalist paramilitaries, in which there was evidence of collusion by the security forces in the killing of people. We need to unravel all the awful things that happened, and we need some sense of understanding about what happened. But the one big impediment, the one big hurdle that's placed in our way that we find it's nearly insurmountable, is this issue of national security. And it really is the state, whether it's through embarrassment of what they were up to and what they were doing, whether it's through this ability or need to protect people, and it's probably a mix. We can understand that every government has a legitimate claim to national security and national interest. But what you cannot do, and what happened time and time again in this conflict, is that you give a participating status to that informant to kill someone. Because the moment they kill someone, the moment they plant a bomb, the moment they pull a trigger, you cannot legitimately claim to use the issue of national security to protect that individual and consequently insulate yourself and your government from your act in doing so. All of those things cannot be expressed as legitimate, especially when you say, we are above this, we are a sovereign government, we adhere to the rule of law and the principles of democracy and to the covenants and conventions that we are signatories to uphold citizens' rights, at the same time taking those citizens' rights and pretending paramilitaries did it and then covering your tracks. And this isn't a case of a few people out of control. This is a system that was out of control, that enabled people to determine on a Monday who was going to die on a Friday.
For 30 years since Gerard's death, Teresa has been trying all possible legal channels to find out the truth about her husband's murder.
I don't know what's stopping them from telling us the truth. Well, I do know, because if they tell the truth about Gerard's murder or about anybody else's murder, then they're in trouble themselves. Even though it's 30 years on, I can still see Gerard lying at the top of the stairs, blood coming out of him, child holding his hand. I can still smell the smoke, I can still hear the pops of the guns. It's in your head all the time.